Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to get on the GT-1, GT80 Yamaha crankshaft. So we're going to go ahead and build it up, and I've got it all cleaned up. I've got it ready. I think we've just got to do some preliminary stuff before we put it in. Before we start the build up. So let me get you overhead and we'll take a peek at it. Okay, first thing we need to do is take a look at this distance right here. It's you've got a raised area here where the bearing goes, and this area out here is exactly the same as the inside. So this in between is a little bit lower. So we've got to go in there and check that dimension. So I'm just going to put my depth mic over the bearing surface in the middle and the outer area, and just come down and take a reading. And looks like we're at about 27 thousandths. Okay, remember we don't want the pin to stick out past this this area, because then it's not going to set flush with the bearing. So we really want the pin to be as close to flush with the lower area here. And you've seen me do this before. And what I just went over and checked my pile of shims that I've been using over the course of the year or so. And I think I've got something pretty close here. About 26 and a half. So there's our 27. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over and set it in the parallels over there, and then drop these in, and then press the bearing in until it stops. And we should be real close to what we want. Okay, we'll just slide that down between the two parallels. And we'll take our shims, lay them in the bottom. Just kind of verify that they're positioned like they ought to be. Looks pretty good. And I'm just going to put a little light oil kind of help things along. Thanks guys. Don't forget to thumbs up. And I've got an aluminum pusher here. And I just need a little spacer there too, so. Okay, let's go. I want to pick it up and look at it. Yeah, we got just a little ways to go yet. That's what I figured, but yeah, now I'm going to have trouble getting my plates. I'm going to have to get some grease now and put them in there. So let me grab some grease. So that's kind of what happens once you pick it up, then you've got another problem. So that should hold it. should be it. Yeah, there we go. Just about right. Okay. And we'll get some assembly lube. Okay, so we'll get the first shim in. And our bearing. And our new rod. And our other shim. And we'll get a little bit on the crankshaft there. Okay, now we'll go over and put it together. Okay, we've got everything set in here. And remember, you want to keep your shims in place. It seemed like they moved around on me a little bit. Still got grease on them, so I'll keep them stuck. So then we're just going to go ahead and line this up best we can. Again, I'm just going to put a little light grease, or light oil rather, on the inside to help facilitate things. It'll push it right out, so it's not like it's going to make it spin or anything. And I'm going to go around with my little square here. Try to get that as close as I can. So we kind of minimize how much beating on it that we have to do. Okay, you can see here that I've got this aluminum plate and it's straddling that low area. So it's touching the raised area here and the bearing surface in the inside. This is all aluminum, so if it's contacting anything there, it's not going to hurt anything. We've got our rod free and clear back here, and I'm pretty good, I think. You know, there's going to be some that you're going to have to get out, but you know, we're pretty well in line right now. Maybe I'll just tap it a little bit. I use a brass drift and hold the bottom. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I've got my 20 thousandths. We need to be between 8 and 20. And what I'll do is I'll come down and I'll put this in here so that it won't go any further than that. And usually it'll push it a little bit more, it'll be tighter. So, you know, maybe it'll be 19 or something. So it'll be pretty close. So I think we're good. So let's start pushing it and see where we go. Okay, that's it. I can still get it out, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Okay. So there we go. Now I just need to see, let's see, we've still got our shims in place here, so I'll get those out. That looks good. Flip it over to the other side. We're just right. Well below that. It probably sticks out a couple thousandths maybe, but it's still below the bearing surface. So let me do some measurements here and we'll see where we're at on this. Okay, I've got it set up here in the lathe and I'm zeroed out here and I'm zeroed out here and they're zero in different spots, so that's okay. So what we'll do first, we'll take the one that's got the most. We've got 10 over here, or about 9.5 I guess, and about 4.5 over here. So that tells me that if I can get this one moved to halfway, then this one here will probably be in pretty good shape. So let's look at it right there. And it's right here is where I need to hit it. So we'll whack it right there and see what we've got. Okay, we're going to whack that one right here. And we'll put it back in and see where we're at now. Okay, looks like everything's moved a little bit here. So this one, well, it's got worse. And this one's got a little bit better, looks like. Yeah, it's half of what it was, just about. But this one here's almost what it was before, actually a little worse. Let's see, so okay, that's where we hit it before, and now it's up here. So we went too far. I think it moved too far. Different cranks take different amounts of pressure to move them. So we're high up here, so we're going to whack it again, but a little bit easier. Yeah, you can see that's where we're going to hit it now, and that's where we hit it before. So it's just almost straight across from one another. So we overdid it. You just got to figure that kind of stuff out when you're doing it. So we'll be a little easier on it. And see what we can do with that one now. Always make sure you put it back in the same way. I always go mag toward the toward the head of the lathe. Okay, that's what we did. We whacked her too much. Okay, that's all the way back on that one. And that's all the way back on that one. So, okay, we're about 2.5 on this side and 6.5 on this side. Okay, we're back in the same spot here, so let's see if we can do some more. Okay, we're getting closer. Okay, this one's 0, and it's about 3 now. And it's still up here pretty close to where I was adjusting it the last time. And this one is at about 3.5. But something else is happening here. You see this one over here is moving over at the same time. Okay, right there, both of them are going this way. So that indicates a pinch. Otherwise, we're going to have to squeeze it or spread it. I believe this is going to be a spread right there. So it's right on the bottom. Here's the rod right at the top, the rod pin. So they're both heading this way. So when you get one like that, you're either going to have to pinch it together or spread it. And I'm thinking this one needs to be spread. Okay, it's right 180 from where the pin is. So we're just going to spread it just a little bit right there. Just slowly. Okay. 0, 0. I'm at about 2.5. And about 2. So you see what has happened is we have, what we had where we had both of them heading one way, that's just about gone. And that was taken out by one little wedge job there at the very bottom. So now we're dealing with one side at a time again. We've got the worst one on this side. So that is right where we used to, I think probably where our first hit was. So we're going to take it out and hit it there again. Okay, looks like our wedge is back. So here's the pin. So it's just a little bit on the back side of the bottom. We need the wedge again. Okay, I think we're close enough here. I've got a thou here and just a little movement, maybe a quarter on this side. So we're going to call it good at about 1 thou and a quarter. Okay, check our axial here. I've got it held this way as far as I can hold it without bending anything. Just lightly hold it and lightly push it. So we're about 35, 36. That's good. Should be between 30 and 40 thousandths when you build it. And if it's, let's see, if it's over 0.78, 2 millimeter, then you have to replace parts. But we're way within the bounds there, 30 to 40. Okay, good. Okay, and then we check our side play. I got a good tight 20. And we should be, let's see, I think it's up to 24. Yeah, they'd like to have it a little closer than that, 19, but they don't want it to exceed 0.6 millimeter, which is 24 thousandths. So we're good. I'm not going to fuss over a thousandths on that one. That's a good tight 20, so I think we're good there. Check our overall width, 3798, and we're supposed to be about 38. We had 3794 coming out, 3799 on the 180. So we're good. That's a nice, that ought to last forever. Thank you guys. Don't forget to thumbs up. Well, there we go. I think we're in good shape on the crankshaft. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we now have our thrust washers in here on both sides. Nice. I like that. We ended up with about 1/1000 runout, 20 thousandths on our big end dimension right here for your clearance, big end clearance, and about 35 on our axial play at the top of the rod. And that's these are all thousandths that I'm telling you because that's what I deal with. I take all the metric measurements and convert them because everything except my caliper and my dial indicator that I use for setting timing are imperial. Those are the only metric ones I have. So I just, whenever I get ready to do a job like this, I convert everything over, doing a bore or a hone or fitting a piston, whatever. I do the same thing. I just convert everything over before I start. Check it and double check it. And I tell you, a lot of the manuals, when you use one of these, a lot of times they convert those measurements for you. Let me see if I can. I don't think there's one in here, but I've noticed it in the others. See here they'll tell you 8.8 millimeter to 1 millimeter, and then 31 thousandths to 40 thousandths. Don't ever trust it. That's right, but don't ever trust it, because I've got some manuals that they've got the decimal point in the wrong place or something, and yet that will mess you up big time. But we're good. We've got our pin is well recessed from the bearing surface right here. So it's recessed here, so it's not going to interfere with that. And same deal on this side, recessed underneath. And like I say, I generally just measure those, try to put a little shim pack in there of something close to keep me from over pushing. And remember, when you put the other half on, you need to keep that in there because you never know which side might be looser, and it pushes out here and pushes out there or something. So just put your shim pack back in so you don't have to mess around with trying to fix something. So I'm happy with that. I think that's going to do him real well. Got a little corrosion down here, but that's that shouldn't bother anything. And our ends are all good there and there. And having those nice ends makes it easy to set up into the lathe and check the run out. Otherwise, you're on a V-block and it's just not as accurate in my opinion. Even a knife edge. Knife edge is what I usually use if I don't have good centers. And if you've been watching me for any length of time, you can see that this is what I use. So I just set this up in my vise, set the crank up in it like this, and I can adjust this. But anyhow, that's how you keep your, if you've got a wide set of V-blocks like these, you're not going to be able to do that job. It's going to tell you it's perfect almost from the get-go, and it's not. You've got to be on a knife edge. Okay guys, there you have it. GT1, GT80, Yamaha crankshaft is built and it's in good shape. So the next time you see that we're working on this machine, we'll probably be putting the cases together, doing the lower end build. So we'll be getting that thing ready to put back in the frame probably in 3 more videos or something like that. But I'm real happy with the turnout on that, and with those thrust washers in there, that thing ought to last forever. And it's I just think that they should be there. Very rarely have I ever found a bike that didn't have thrust washers, maybe once or twice before. And it's just, in my opinion, it should not be that way. They need to have the thrust washers so you can put kind of put a nix to the wear on the rod. Because what happens is the rod gets to wearing over there on the crankshaft half, which is just as hard, if not harder, than the rod. And what you end up with is what we had here, where it peeled the rod. So it peeled the material, brought it up. They were sharp shards, and it's just it's a bad situation. The thrust washers are softer than the rod, softer than the crankshaft half. So that's where your wear is. And that way, if you have wear that pulls off material, even if it gets in the bearing or something, it's not as apt to cause damage because it's softer to start with. So anyhow, enough said about that. I just think they need to have thrust washers in them, but that's just my opinion. Okay, this week, this video probably will be up on the weekend because I'm going in for surgery this week, and I don't know how long it's going to take to recover so that I'm feeling better to come out here, come out in the shop. So there may be a week that I don't get one up. I'm not sure. So we'll just play it. We'll just see how it goes, I guess. But anyhow, this one here I'm doing early in the week, and it should be up on Friday or Saturday. I'll go ahead and just put a time so that it gets loaded up so you guys can watch it. Hopefully I'll be on the mend good enough to maybe piddle around with something the following week, but we'll see. Hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.